Morning and welcome back to the Art of a Life Well Lived. I'm Christine Regan Lake and it's good to be here again, and I'm so happy you're here to join me. So today we're going to talk about how long-term narcissistic abuse can cause brain damage. And I know that may sound shocking to some of you who may not have done any research on this area, but it is in fact true that long-term narcissistic abuse does in fact cause brain damage and does have significant impact on your mental functioning. Okay, so let's get started. If you haven't liked my channel, I would love it if you would do that, if you enjoy my videos, and you might want to hit the subscribes or the bell button so that you're informed when I upload new content, which I try to do at least twice a week. And so let's get started. Okay, so what is the result? How is it that your brain can be damaged by long-term narcissistic abuse? So what actually they've discovered, science has been able to prove that when someone is exposed to long-term mental abuse, emotional abuse, you have increased levels of cortisol, right? When you're constantly in that fight or flight active mode, your body creates a tremendous amount of cortisol, and that cortisol, when you have toxic levels of it, will actually shrink your hippocampus. So when your hippocampus shrinks, what that directly impacts is your short-term memory, and it affects your executive functioning skills, which means it's harder for you to process information. Part of the reason is because, when you have to integrate information, it takes a while, right? Your subconscious mind has to absorb it. But if your short-term memory is significantly damaged and you have a very hard time holding on to information short-term, that's going to affect your long-term ability, your long-term memory, because you're not going to be able to, it doesn't go from short-term over to the long-term as your body's been able to process it. So it definitely throws a major curve and obstacle into your learning ability. And also in terms of your executive functioning, it becomes much harder for you to be able to make long-term decisions, make integrations and connections between things, seeing the parallel connections between concepts, things like that. Your executive functioning also with regard to impulse control, your ability to keep a handle on your emotions, your impulse control. That's why a lot of people who've been victims of abuse who become abusers, because they were so severely abused as children and then they become abusive as adults, that's why they can fly off the handle, because they have their ability to regulate their impulses and to hold back has been damaged through their traumatic experiences that they went through. And then long-term planning, it becomes very hard to plan. If processing information and making connections is disrupted by this, increased level of cortisol, it's going to affect your ability to plan. Now, they also found a direct correlation. The higher the level of cortisol and the more extreme the PTSD you had, the more dramatically the brain shrunk. It got smaller and smaller. The other thing that happens when you experience brain damage from narcissistic abuse is that as the hippocampus shrinks, the amygdala enlarges, and the amygdala is the storehouse and what your brain is in control of emotions of like shame and guilt and anxiety and worry and things like that. So your ability to process and have your higher executive mental functionings is shrinking at the same time that your natural inclination to fear, worry, anxiety, shame, guilt, things like that is increasing. So as you can imagine, as you're seeing that, the hippocampus shrink and the amygdala enlarging, that is going to have a direct impact on every sphere of your life in terms of your ability to function as a mother or a father, your ability to function as a good employee or a good business owner. It's going to seep into these other areas of your life. And it's really important that you address it and try to figure out, okay, how, knowing that this is where I'm at and this is, is the result of this trauma that I have been through, how can I navigate forward knowing that I have to make up for this. So the beautiful thing about the brain and about the human body, has a tremendous capacity to heal and rejuvenate itself. And thankfully, to the blessing of neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to grow and to, expand and create new neural pathways, that neuroplasticity is the key to healing brain damage that has been caused by narcissistic abuse. So, how specifically can you leverage neuroplasticity to heal and recover after narcissistic abuse? Well, one of the things you can do is you can embrace EMDR. EMDR is eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing. So EMDR is a process that you can go to someone who's certified as an EMDR practitioner. And through specific eye movement exercises, you are able to neutralize the trauma that you have experienced. And I believe it's something like if you have like a single incident that's traumatic, with EMDR, you can do as little as like 3 90-minute sessions with EMDR to be able to neutralize that specific thing if you've had like a single event. If your trauma has been much longer and it's been more sustained, it might take you a series of like 6 to 12 sessions, things like that. It just depends. Everybody's depth and level of trauma is different, so these are just kind of general guidelines. And so you also want to do the EMDR as part of a bigger, kind of like full plan of how to recover. You've got to look at your beliefs, you've got to look at your patterns and things like that. But specifically the EMDR has been successful in helping people to heal the brain trauma that they've had. Another strategy that you can embrace to heal from narcissistic abuse and the damages it's had on your brain is EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. You can go on YouTube. There are videos on there teaching you how to do EFT if you want. You can go to an EFT practitioner. That's how I began my career as an energy practitioner. I started with EFT and then it morphed into my own process that just evolved over time. But EFT can help you to, again, recreate those new neural pathways that you want to create to help resolve and heal your brain. You do want to establish I would highly suggest doing a daily protocol. There are different time frames, different theories come up with regard to how long it will take you to reprogram your beliefs and things like that. Because part of the belief is that when you've been under narcissistic abuse is that you begin to embody the beliefs that, like, I am broken, I am dysfunctional, things like that. So not only do you have to work on the physical damages to the brain in terms of like allowing that neuroplasticity to take place to create those new neural pathways, but you need to create new beliefs, more health, pro-life beliefs about yourself, about your self-worth, about your self-esteem, about the value that you bring to the marketplace in terms of your career and your finances and things like that. So it's very, very important that when you're looking to heal after narcissistic trauma, that you really take a holistic approach to your healing, emotionally, physically, financially. You want to detox your body. All of this cortisol that we're talking about, all of this cortisol creates tremendous acid in the body. If you've had your fight or flight triggered on for long periods of time where it's basically crunching out 24/7, which is what I had, it creates tremendous toxicity in the body, and it overloads the liver and the lymph system to handle it. So you've got to detox your physical body, you've got to detox your emotional body, you want to detox your mental beliefs. It's a whole rewiring. This isn't just a single aspects that you're just like, okay, I'll just do the EFT for my brain. No, you have to look at the entire portion of the entire sphere of your life and all the ways that you're out of imbalance and all of the thoughts, beliefs and habits and patterns that you've embraced that got you into that situation with a narcissistic partner who was abusive to you. Otherwise, if you don't do that, if you don't examine the beliefs, if you don't understand the patterns, if you don't understand why you ended up in that situation, you will recreate it over and over and over again, and you will re-traumatize yourself with each new person. So it's incredibly important that you look at the entire picture of healing and then approach it and get really serious and focused on it, because it's a big deal. Like, I think a lot of people do not understand just how destructive a narcissistic abusive relationship can be, and what it does to the person's self-worth, self-esteem, how it impacts their bank account, their career, their relationships with their children. Because when your self-esteem and your self-worth has been decimated by somebody, it leaks out into every area of your life, and it like contaminates it. So you have to heal at the soul level, and rebuild yourself, your life, your self-worth, all of those things. And so the next thing you can do, so EFT, you can do EMDR, you can do guided meditations. You can listen to guided meditations, start visualizing the new neural pathways in your brain, start visualizing that new life, start visualizing that new vision and highest version of yourself. So guided meditation, EFT, and EMDR are three powerful ways that you can learn to heal your brain, heal the hippocampus so that it can regrow and get that density back that it had before you had the abuse. And the most important thing that I always try to stress for anyone as they're taking this path is that this is a journey. And it is so important for you to have kindness and compassion and patience for yourself. This, it's healing isn't turning on a light switch. It's peeling the onion. You take it one step at a time. You have patience and compassion for yourself, because there's a lot of stuff to face and it can be overwhelming, but it is worth it. Doing the work is worth it, because when you get through to the other side, you will be so grateful. You will be so proud of yourself, and you will be a stronger person with healthy boundaries and a strong, clear vision for yourself, where you're never going to let someone violate your boundaries or abuse you ever again. And that is a beautiful and miraculous thing. So please, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to put them in the comments. I absolutely would love to support you on your journey. I've been there. I've walked this path. I've had to rebuild myself and my life, and it's been an intense experience. And that's why I'm here sharing my thoughts with you, because I know how painful it can be. I know how lonely it can be. I know how confusing it can be, and it's always nice to have a friend on the path holding your hand or walking with you as you take that journey. So love and blessings to all of you. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And if you have any thoughts or questions of issues, topics that you'd like for me to cover in my videos, please put it in the comments. I absolutely want to serve your needs and provide you with content that is valuable to you. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks. Bye.